You heard us talk yesterday about how dangerous we think it is that Stugotz gets and has freedom. I don't even know, honest to God, Mike, as I say this, I don't know how DraftKings is sponsoring stupidity already. I have no working knowledge, and I don't think our CEO does either. But Abby told us yesterday, his wife, that she fears him with freedom. And so here we are, and this segment was supposed to start with Stugotz's ride into work is how we were going to do this today. And everyone is here except for Stugotz. How is it possible that he's late for simply getting into his car? He's late here every day, Mike, every single day. In the history of doing this show, I'm always here before him. We've never even met at the door at the same time. And this is a frustration and a resentment that Wilbon and Kornheiser have. Wilbon is always keeping Kornheiser waiting because Wilbon is always getting a sandwich late. Where is Stugotz? Why is he not here on time? Why is it so hard for him to be on time? And what's going to happen to this entire show and everything around us because Stugotz is always late and he can't be trusted with freedom?
Well, you'll be happy to know that a phone number just popped into the Zoom. My guess is he had to download the Zoom app. But he is there now, late to his own drive into the studio segment. Stugotz, can you hear me?
I can, right on time. What do you mean? Waze has me there at 9:02 a.m., boys.
How we doing today, Stu? What do we got first? Maybe a little coffee stop on the way? Did you leave early enough for a little coffee stop?
Nah, Dan usually gets the coffee for me. So hopefully he has that ready. Is Dan in there already? I mean, what's he doing?
So there's some confusion because Dan does this thing in the late afternoon, evening where he's exclusively on iPad, and we have one member of our team that doesn't have an iPhone, so group chat text messages are hit or miss when it comes to Dan. It specifically said in the group chat, Dan come in at 9, but Dan was actually here before you for a segment that you were exclusively supposed to feature in.
Really? Okay. So anyway, Mike, this is, I have no idea what you just said. Listen, I have big news, Mike. To my right, I am looking at the 8th hole as I leave my development here. To the left is the 9th hole. That means, Mike, we are just merely 2 holes away from the scene of the greatest golf shot in the history of golf. The 120-yard par 3 11th hole where Mike stuck a driver 2 inches from the cup. How about that, Michael? Hey!
I love how much you referenced that. But one of the things that I'm worried about Dan's presence here.
Oh, wait, hold on. There's the Russian walking his dog. Hold on. The Russian.
Yes. Say hi.
Yeah, this Russian guy walks his dog, and there's an expectation when you're walking your dog that you must interact with him. And even pre-COVID, I never interacted with him. I mean, the guy's just annoying. And now he is walking with another Russian. I mean, having a couple of Ruskies cutting it up. How about that? That's amazing.
So this very clearly has its own theme.
And there's Luongo!
Lou!
Everyone's walking the dog.
Dan, you and I need to get out of the way because this was one of the more popular local hours we've ever done. The container needs to drive, and your fat face in this Zoom makes everybody think the default is you drive. We're getting out of the way. The shipping container, it seems as though Stugotz is already fired up in rare form.
I need more, Stugotz. Just paint the picture of the golf course, that morning dew glistening.
Yeah, so when I drive out, I pass the 3rd hole every time, and it's just it's glistening. But it's a bit overcast today. I'm already out of the development. I've made a right here on the University Drive, and I am passing the temple that Dan never showed up to for my daughter's bat mitzvah. But Mike Roy and everyone else in there was cutting it up, having a time of our life, drinking tequila, having ice sculpture. Remember that, Michael? It was fun.
Can I just, for 1 second, because I feel like he does this all the time where he tries to guilt everyone that didn't show up to his daughter's Sweet 16 while not attending anybody's
it was the bat mitzvah,
wedding.
Billy. 13, bat mitzvah. 13.
Okay, whatever
He went
it
to
is.
my wedding.
He didn't go to my wedding. He didn't go to Chris's wedding, but he tries to kind of make us feel bad for not going to this bat mitzvah years ago.
Yeah, well, I just try to make Dan feel bad. That's all. I mean, listen, I understand. You guys couldn't go. It's fine. I get it. I mean, listen, it's my daughters were turning into adults. That's what the bat mitzvah is all about. You turn into an adult, and Dan wasn't there to see them turn into adults.
Billy, did he get you a gift?
Listen, Listen, he took the buyout, and so, you know, I mean, I'm very happy. He paid for my kid's college. It's amazing.
Billy, Chris, did he get you guys a gift? Did he get you guys a gift for your wedding?
He did. He gave me a card with a nice chunk of quiche in it.
Yeah, he gave me a nice card, a nice check. It wasn't signed, so then for like a week after, I was like, what do I do about this? Do I go up to him and say you didn't sign this? Because I didn't know if it was like intentional or not, because he knew I probably wouldn't approach him about giving me an unsigned check. So eventually we made the awkward exchange where I like took the gift card, or not the gift card, the card with the check out of my bag and handed it to him, and he signed it. He's like, there you go, congratulations. And that was it.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was more like, I'm sorry, not
It was a sorry. It was an apology. You thought you had me there, huh, Danny?
Yeah, I did. I thought for sure you haven't gotten me a wedding gift.
There it is.
I did. I showed up. I mean, that was my gift.
I have a question. Quick, I'll get out of the way. I do have a question, though. Stugotz, just explain it to me because I don't understand, and I'd like to know if our CEO understands. How is Stupidity already sponsored by DraftKings?
Oh, what do you mean? I mean, what do you think? Easy money. I'm not going to say no to it. What are you talking about? I'm going to paint that thing like a NASCAR. Are you kidding me? I mean, why shouldn't I take it?
Well, I think there's a protocol, though. I think you probably need to get approval.
You want some of it.
I don't want some of it. No, I don't want any of it.
I was doing it for the company. I mean, whatever the company, I was doing it for them just to try to bring some revenue in. Listen, here at the end of this, you're going to think I did it for me. I didn't. I did it for you. I'm protecting Dan from Dan because, you know, you're saying on the air all the time, you're bleeding. I want the bleeding to stop. And so I'm trying to help out with some sales here on Stupidity. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, trying to help you out, my friend. Friends do,
but you haven't told me what you got for it, and I haven't seen any of the money for it, and I don't know that there is any money for it for us or the company.
There's a billing cycle, Dan, so we will eventually send them a bill for what it is that we did, and they will eventually pay us like they always have. That's the way it works. I have not instructed them to send it to me. I talked to Bimmel, and I said send 50% to me and 50% to the rest of the company. How about that?
Who's Bimmel?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know who that is. It's made up a name. Anyway, I'm on the Sawgrass going southbound right now, guys.
Paint the picture.
Sawgrass.
Paint the picture.
Well, it's an overcast day up here. I don't know how it looks down there. Not a lot of cars on the road. There's not a lot of action on the Sawgrass. It's really the most boring part of my drive. It's just a connection to get me to the turnpike going south. Where a good bulk of my drive is spent, and I will take you through that. But this is kind of a boring portion of the drive, the old Sawgrass Express.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with a little boring portion of a drive. You know, you can't have the exciting parts of a drive if you don't have the boring parts too.
To my right is a big, massive truck with big, huge cement blocks on it. I said earlier, Chris, like a few weeks ago, I said the most dangerous thing. The most frightening thing on a highway is when you pass a truck that has a rack of cars on it that bounce all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, a truck with a bunch of, concrete blocks on it just flying all over the place, that is also my top 5 things, scariest things to pass on a highway.
What are the other 3?
The other 3. You got debris going everywhere.
I haven't really thought that. Yeah, I haven't thought that through really, Bill.
You know the ones with the little rocks inside, like the dump trucks with the little rocks? Not super scary, but they dent your hood because they're all jumping out of the top of the thing, or they slide out the bottom. The worst.
How about big gas trucks? Big, giant, wobbling gas trucks.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, gasoline trucks. Yeah.
Can't get away fast enough.
So do we have anything else to round out the lamest top 5 ever?
Oh, no, this is a good top 5.
Driving behind Roy.
Yeah, Roy. Just
I'm a 5.
Anywhere near Roy.
All right, keep my name out of your mouth.
I guess what about someone on a motorcycle? Doesn't that make you nervous? It's like, hey, I don't want to hurt you.
I don't like people on motorcycles. I mean, it's annoying,
Yeah.
They think the whole road is theirs,
Get over yourself, motorcycle guy.
Worse driver than I am.
All right, so I'm inching closer here to the, let me cancel this. I don't know how to use all these car features. Hold on a second. I'm using Waze. I'm looking at the screen. Hold on a second.
Stugotz, have you tried to do the 2 birds with 1 stone thing and start banging out some cameos on your drive in?
So I did a Cameo before I drove in. I sent it out because there's a timer set on these things. Dan, if I just stop at any time during the show, it's because there's a 1 minute alarm that comes up that says you got to get this Cameo done. So I might just be rattling a bunch off today.
Guys, what's going on with the Cameos and Stugotz? How far behind is he? Because I know you guys were making fun of the fact that he didn't get to any of them until Sunday, and Billy was wondering, as was I, if Stugotz was waiting for all the cheap ones to expire so that he could go back to charging everybody $80 instead of giving anyone anything for $39.
He's at $159.
Yeah.
It's not $80.
Yeah.
He's not affordable.
People are still buying them. How about that? Yeah, people are still buying. Hey, am I getting onto the turnpike here? Hey, how about you use a blinker, dude? Jesus Christ. Everyone's merging for the Sawgrass over over to the turnpike south. You either go north or south. You have a choice here. You keep going straight, and you're on Southwest 10th Street. I'm going south. A lot of people going north. But I'm telling you, once a day, I yell at someone because they try to get over to this right lane that I've been in for 5 minutes because I'm trying to drive responsibly. And he doesn't use a blinker. It's annoying. I am sailing right now on the turnpike going about 102 miles per hour, boys. I mean, I am flying right now. Waze has me there. Oh, look, I love the game that I play with Waze every morning. Waze, yeah, it's a great game. They give me a time that I'm going to arrive, and I try to beat that time.
Yep.
Waze is a very dangerous game. I'm telling you, it is a terribly dangerous game. Where it has me there at 9:03, and now I am pacing at 9:01. I'm 2 minutes ahead of schedule.
Look at you.
Dan, you're going to see me earlier than.
Did he just cut off?
Yeah, and you guys didn't do anything with the Cameo. Like, we asked him a question about Cameo.
I know. I was trying to get in about that. To answer your question, he has to be behind on that because he has way more than I do, and I have a couple that are like,
Billy, what's going on with Stugotz's Cameo?
The thing is, Dan, it's private, so you don't know how many requests someone has. But if we believe what he said, which why would we? He said the other day that he had 200 requests, and that was on the first day. So you have to assume that he does have a lot, even though he raised his price 3 or 4 times since, that he has a ton that are now way backlogged that he's going to have to get to. And there's only a certain amount of time to do them. And I don't know how you guys experience this, but it's not a quick process for me. Like I will spend hours and knock out like 20 in a day.
You guys are doing great. You guys are really doing great. I have enjoyed you guys staying in your personalities and doing them, but I haven't seen very many from Stugotz.
Oh, I've done a bunch. What are you talking about? So, Dan, understand that I wasn't active on Cameo until last Tuesday, and I set my thing at 7 days to fulfill. So what Billy's trying to tell you is a lot of those orders came in last Tuesday on that first day when I had my price at the lowest. And I think Bill's probably concerned I'm not going to get all the ones that are due today done, but I am telling you, I am making a pledge to the people on Cameo that I will get it done. I am not going to leave a single person without a Cameo that they paid for. And if I don't get it done, I'll do it for free. If I don't get it done, I'll do it for free. How about that? Okay?
A pledge?
That's impossible.
Stugotz made a pledge.
Totally.
You're not going to do it for money, but you're going to do it for free.
Is what I did.
And Stugotz, not to throw stones, because I'm not, changing into a bunch of outfits for this, but you did kind of promise, a bunch of Braves hats, a bunch of, I'll put on this shirt for this guy. I'm seeing a lot of the same outfit in Stugotz's Cameos.
No, you're right. Well, listen, I'm trying to bring Sports Fanatics in as a third-party sponsor.
Here we go.
And
trying to sell it. Trying to sell your Cameos.
Yeah, I'm getting close to getting the deal done. Now, again, keep in mind, I am doing this for the company, Dan. I will be sending that revenue to you. I promise you. Okay? I promise you.
You're the best, man. I love you so much.
I love you too. All right, listen, I am passing the Pompano Center here. The rest stop area. The last one you have before that 3-hour trek up to Orlando. I'm passing it. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm late occasionally, Dan, this is because I don't have a car right now, so I'm driving around in my wife's car, and this is the portion of my drive where I occasionally pull over for a heater, a little dart. You know what I'm saying? A little morning dart.
Dart.
Guillermo, put it on the poll.
Game of darts.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo.
For cigarettes.
At Batard Show. When Stugotz starts a thought with, I'm not going to lie to you, does it often produce a lie?
Morning darts.
I don't think he's lying.
I'm not going to
about
stop
one.
this morning because, I don't want to be late. So, Pompano Service Plaza on my left. I am passing right now. A little Shell gas. I love a good service area.
I love it.
Little gas station, little Pizza Hut, little Wendy's, a little Dunkin' D's. A store to buy some darts. I mean, a dart store. It's got it all.
Oh, it really is the best. It's an underrated place, the Rest Stop.
How do you guys feel about Dunkin' dropping the donuts from their name?
It was a bold move, but I think it'll work out for them.
I don't like it.
Oh, well, that went well.
They can change it whatever they want, but they change it whatever they want, but they call it Dunkin' Donuts. That's what it is.
Yeah, it'll always be DD to me.
I'll see some good billboards. I mean, so I'm flying down the turnpike here, Dan. I got Waze has me at 9:01, so I have 2 minutes ahead of schedule, guys. 2 minutes driving 88 miles per hour right now.
Nice.
Congratulations. If we bump it up to 95 when we get here.
What do you want me to do, 95?
Nothing. No, don't do that.
Let's go.
No, it's
okay. All right.
Did you have breakfast today, Stugotz, or not yet?
Nah, it's funny. Abby made me a very nice, nice little bagel with some toasted with butter on it. And yesterday, after complaining she doesn't make me anything, she made that for me, and I forgot to bring it with me. But I got a sandwich in my bag. Chicken cutlet in my bag. All right, passing Commercial Boulevard.
I don't know why I love this so much.
We live in the Wawa brisket sandwich. Whoa, a little billboard for a Wawa brisket slider. How about that?
Overrated. Wawa. Don't get me started on that.
Wawa?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just, it's a gas station, and everyone likes to think it's this,
Wait, hold on, Dan, right now, listen to me. On my left, I have a truck. On my right, I have not one but two fuel tanks, okay? And I have a gap. Guys, I'm going to shoot the gap. I'm shooting the gap.
Do it!
Shooting it! Right
Shoot the gap!
Boom!
Oh!
Boom!
That was
Boom!
close.
Right through you! Boom! Right through you! Boom! Right through you! Right through the gap, man.
Dangerous
I'm telling you,
game.
my offensive line, now there's a guy in front of me, and he opened up a hole. I'm telling you, like the size of a football field, and I plowed right through it. And that's what other drivers do for other drivers. Chris, you form a little, Billy, you've done this, you form a little offensive line in front of you,
Lead
and you
blockers.
just follow them wherever they go. Yeah. That's the way I approach driving, like I'm a running back. Yeah.
Yep.
Save some gas, yeah.
Averaging 180 miles per drive.
Jesus.
Good God.
Drive hurts.
Stugotz, Devonta Smith, real deal, am I right?
Who?
I think we're all learning together why we recorded this last time, and it was heavily edited because, there's some lulls sometimes.
Hey, man, it's a drive.
Bill, I'm driving and trying to concentrate at the same time. And what else? I mean, listen, I just shot a gap. I mean,
Hell yeah.
What else do you want?
Do you ever pull out of the fast lane because someone behind you is coming faster? You're the guy that just stays moving slow and refuse and make them go around you.
Wow.
Well, so usually it depends. So if I'm in the fast lane, I'm going to go fast. Like I'm there right now, I'm going 86 miles per hour, okay? But if a guy has upset me enough somewhere at some point in the drive, again, it's a very long drive, I will absolutely get in that left lane. I will sit there at 55 and not go a mile per hour faster. Yeah.
I like that. I like that you have driving.
Billy, I try to box them in because I'll try to do that right next to a car in the middle lane.
Exactly.
Just stay their speed and they can't go.
Love that game.
Good.
Love that game.
I'm glad that we're on this because I was going to ask you about driving friends and driving rivals, where you go on a drive and you see the same cars and you become friendly with some of the cars, and other cars become your driving rivals, and they'll speed past you, and then you'll see them either get a ticket or you'll see that they slowed down, and then you pass them and you're like, that's what you get. So I'm glad to find out that you also have driving rivals.
This game is so good. When someone annoys me and I get next to a car and not letting someone pass me, there is no greater feeling than when you have successfully blocked somebody trying to go fast. Oh, what a feeling.
It's great. Yeah. It's like you're the offensive line trying to keep your running back because you don't like him very much off the field. And you're trying to have him gain negative yards instead of positive yards. You're right.
Do you think that's ever happened?
It really is.
Do you think that's ever happened with an offensive lineman? They're like, I hate this running back. I'm going to block terribly for him. Or just not let him through.
Yes. Why wouldn't it happen?
I mean, because he's on the same team and he wants them to succeed.
Because they're professional athletes and they'll get fired if they do that?
Yeah, but Dan, you don't think of the history of sports that's ever happened where a running back has done something so bad to one of his offensive linemen, the guy doesn't block for him? I mean, of course it's happened. Or a quarterback.
I believe on occasion a quarterback maybe has gotten hit because an offensive lineman is mad at him about something. I don't believe that would last very long or that it wouldn't be obvious very quickly because it's rare that you see an offensive lineman give up 4 and 5 sacks in a game.
I mean, it did happen to Willie Beeman, if you remember. He ran his mouth and all of a sudden he got hit on the blind side.
That's a good point, Chris.
Thank you,
got,
Stu.
Dan?
Thank you.
I've been checkmated, Stugotz. I don't have
Willie
anything.
Beeman.
It did happen to Willie Beeman from Any Given Sunday, a football
My name is
movie
Willie.
where
Willie Beeman.
an
I got the
eyeball
ladies. Scream.
was
Wait, but
on the
Dan, you're
field.
you're into kind of like, psychology of sports and human nature. Like, you don't think maybe,
Yeah,
all right,
Dan.
we're 2-12, Carson Wentz is overpaid. He's making $8 gazillion. I'm an offensive lineman, not making nearly as much. I'm tired of him. He's not very good. Our team sucks. I'm going to let him get sacked. You don't think that happened?
I think you should do the car ride in, and I should get out of this because all I do is ruin it. So you go ahead. You go ahead and do your own work here.
Listen, if I wasn't having this discussion with you, I'd be having it with someone. I mean, maybe myself, perhaps my brother. I mean, maybe Chris, somebody. I mean,
Carson
doing
Wentz,
the
by
time.
the way. Stugotz, Carson Wentz sitting pretty now, huh? Now that they got Doug Peterson out of there?
I know. He's looking good. Jeffrey Lurie. You got rid of it. Listen, that owner graduated from Clark University, the same place I graduated. Achieved a little more in his life than I have.
You know what I miss that we haven't seen lately? Back to the linemen and quarterbacks and all that. Remember, like every year we used to see like after the last game of the season or the last couple of weeks of the season, the ridiculous presents that quarterbacks would get their line. I don't feel like I've seen that in a couple of years. Did they stop being charitable?
Did you see Kyler Murray got
each?
each of his offensive linemen a painting of themselves, original artwork. He got each of them, and I'm thinking they didn't like that gift.
What did he get him?
A painting of themselves. He got original artwork for each of his offensive linemen that was a painting.
Yeah, that's let him get sacked a lot next year, I promise you. Murray! Anyway, I'm passing I am on the final bend here of my turnpike portion of the drive. There's the Good Greek. God, I see it. The guy is everywhere, the Good Greek. I am passing the Hard Rock Guitar Hotel. Have you guys been there yet? It looks nice, man.
I have been there, and it is nice, but I lost like $400 in the casino. What?
You've been gambling during COVID, dude?
No,
You
this
went to
was
a
like in
casino?
January. This was like in January when I stayed there.
It is January.
Okay.
Oh my God, it is January. Holy shit.
These
Last January.
I'm looking at these paintings now. Nice gesture. Totally worthless gift. Who's going to want to buy a painting of number 68? Like, you cannot possibly resell that. That really only means something to him. What an odd gift. I mean, I get, it's the thought that counts, but like, I never think that in a gallery or in like, what's it called? Like Sotheby's, Sotheby's. Dan, you know about art. What is it called? Where they do the auction of the famous art and then it shreds itself? Sotheby's. Yeah. I never see number 64 for the Arizona Cardinals lineman art being on sale in Sotheby's.
He hasn't gotten paid yet, Kyler Murray.
There's not an R in Sotheby's, I don't think.
Sotheby's? Southby's? What's it called?
Sotheby's.
I think it's Southbeach.
It's Sotheby's, man.
Sotheby's?
Yes.
Wow.
I think during the telecast last night, they showed that Hard Rock Guitar Hotel. I mean, and listen, people get tempted by what they see on TV down here all the time. If they only knew what was 17 steps from that hotel, which is the foulest, grossest area in the United States of America, 441, they would never spend a second there. Not a second.
I saw
Anyway, here are my boys. I just passed a Stinger Isco and Cohen sign here. Go for it.
I saw a crazy fight in the parking garage at the Hard Rock on Only in Broward yesterday. Seemed a bit out of control.
Those Ole and Browards, Ole and Dades are a gold mine.
What do you think best case scenario, most downloads would be on this drive to work? Dan probably is hoping a crash, right? Like that would
I was thinking to myself when you were speeding through the tankers and stuff, if we would air the sound of an explosion, if we would air some sort of horrible calamity. I was wondering it to myself as you sped through gas tankers.
Like, where's the line? Like, what awful thing could happen that we would air?
I think Stugotz would like to go out that way. No, Stugotz? Like your last words on air? Brought to you by DraftKings.
Murray!
honest. I'm laughing.
God, that's $5.
I've been taking notes, Stugotz, during this segment, and I've caught on to a couple of things. Also,
this is the way I like to go out. Sorry, Mike.
All right, jeez. So I've been taking notes, and I came up with an idea for a bit called Stupardy, because I don't know if you saw Ken Jennings' first show was on Jeopardy yesterday, and I've been drawing a Jeopardy board with a bunch of topics.
Nice.
And the whole idea behind Stupardy is you're the host and you have to grade everybody on how they deliver the answers. But since it's Jeopardy, only one answer at a time. So if it's adequate for you, you award them the dollar value. So one of them is please, ... And then like I'll take please for 100. And then you're like, Joe Judge. And then I just go, Joe Judge, please. You know, you're blaming the Philadelphia Eagles for not winning you a game. You're 6-10, you idiot. How dare you complain about somebody else? And then you award me if it's like agreeable.
Overruled.
I like that. Yeah,
if it's
like
agreeable
that.
to you, you give me $100. So that's one of the things that I wrote down.
I like that. So basically, it's where I would go with the Joe Judge take. If you get it right, you get it right.
Yeah, I get the $100 dollar value, and then we move on, and I control the board. Then I'll go dangerous game
this is not
for
my
$300.
$100 though, right? This is Dan's $100.
No,
right?
it's just the game. So I'll do all the work. You just host, and then maybe put it on Supodity and get all the credit for it, even though there's sponsors on it that no one knows how exactly we did it, and the production on it was kind of suspect this week. But another thing that we that I wrote down.
It only had it only had over 100,000 downloads. I don't know what else you want me to do.
Very successful. One of the things that I wrote down was Stugotz likes to COVID shame, because you did this yesterday when Greg Cote went to a beach, and you're like, what is this guy doing going to a beach during a pandemic? When I think the beach is probably, if you're going to go out in mass, scientifically one of the safer places, yet it's coming from someone that has no problem hopping on a bird and going to Delaware every week.
Yeah. I love you, but who tested positive for COVID, you or me?
God damn.
Yeah, goddamn is right, Roy. He checkmated him there.
Wow.
COVID shamed you too, Mike.
I mean, yeah, we'll play the result there, I guess. My guess is you tested negative because you got the antibodies at this point. Yeah, and another thing that I wrote down is listen, Stugotz cannot take any feedback, because he literally has started every point in this podcast with the word listen, and he himself doesn't actually listen. And I've told him this several times. You have to stop leaning on that verbal tick.
It's a crutch.
Because as you age, more of these things pop up. And you're out here on Supodity. You said that you could do Sunday Night Football without Michaels, and I'm pretty sure the first bit of feedback those producers would tell you in your ear 3 minutes in is stop saying listen to start every sentence.
Listen, you're right. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm passing the Hard Rock right now, Mike.
The Hard Rock.
I got to tell you, like, watching the game last night, this stadium is as aesthetically pleasing as any stadium in America. It looks super nice, does it not?
It does. How about those camera angles? How about those camera angles last night? That was so cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Alabama, God saving 7 national championships. Wow. All right, I'm getting to the most frustrating part of my job. It's the end of the turnpike. There is no more turnpike. The turnpike is over.
The merge.
All lanes flow into I-95.
Is there a line right now? Are we going to skip it? We're going to go in that left lane, go all the way, and then cut across?
No, don't get pulled over,
well, if I do, I'll tell them I'm Dan.
I've done it literally every day. I've gone to work on South Beach, and I've never gotten pulled over at that spot. Roy.
I know, but I got to survey how it works. Chris, sometimes I go left lane because I think that takes you 826, and I could sail there and cross over to the right. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I go right lane and I skip over to the left.
The old skip.
Right at the last second. But I have to see if Waze tells me if there's any cops around. And Waze hasn't told me that yet. So I'm still surveying the situation here. I am right laning right now. It looks like the better option.
Are you
totally illegally?
Are you a proactive Waze guy, Stugotz? Like, will you mark a cop if you see one?
No.
I do that. Like when I'm on a road trip, I like being a team player, a Waze team player. I like to, if I see a cop, I mark that cop so the next guy behind me doesn't get caught. Billy, you
a little behind schedule right now. It's got me there at 9:06 a.m. That's because of a little traffic mounting up here, guys.
You seem to be moving really smoothly so far, though.
I am right up until here, Bill. This is where it all goes to shit right here. This is where I regret where I live every single day when I get to this point of my drive right now where I'm at. Because if I was not in this right lane, I'd be all the way back by the stadium right now, just trying to get myself onto 95 South. That's how far the I want you to imagine where this thing is, this junction, and then think if I was waiting all the way back in the stadium, because that's how far back it is right now. I mean, I just cut about 3/4 of a mile of people right now. Now I'm hopping into the left. No, I'm staying right, Chris. I'm staying right. I think I can squeeze a little more juice out of this one.
So
that's flying over. There's a cop. I'm over. Hold on, Dan.
I told you, man. I told you.
Chris. I'm good.
Dangerous game.
I'm good.
You're good? You're in the clear?
So, yeah.
If you got pulled over, that would be great. That would be good for the pod.
I took the 826 West right lane, Chris, almost until the last possible second. And I'm only telling Chris this because he knows it. And then popped over to 95. I probably just shaved, let me see. I probably just shaved 4 minutes off my drive. 4 minutes.
No better feeling.
Maybe 5. It's a good feeling. So now Waze has me back at 9:03. I'm going to beat you, Waze.
I love that game too. The game where you beat Waze.
It's the best.
Where you do everything you can just to beat the time that is, and you're like, you stupid computer, you don't know what's gonna happen. When it's like scary accurate that they can tell you exactly what time you're gonna get there.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but you like talking crap to Waze, right?
That should be a show. Stugotz, actually, hey, let's pitch this, Stugotz. You've heard of Beat Shazam with Jamie Foxx. Here's Beat Waze with Stugotz, where you just go places and you put in the address and it tells you what time you're going to get there, and you do everything in your power, legally or not, to beat Waze.
I like it. But it's a game I play every morning.
I need a 5th category for my Jeopardy game. Right now, I have these are the categories, Stugotz, and as the host, I want you to, give me your feedback on this. I have please, ... We went through what that would be. I have dangerous game as a category. Mm-hmm. I have listen as a category. And I have this guy really as a category. I need a 5th category. And now I thought of potent potables just as a swerve, but I think it should really still be on brand. Is there another tick that you have that I can include as a category?
What's the thing where he like before he gets going at the beginning of a sentence?
Yeah.
Give me a break, Mike. Give me a break is one of them.
Give me a break is good.
Potpourri.
Zip it up.
You'd be ashamed of yourself.
Ooh, shame dispensing.
Yes, shame dispensing is good too. I really like please as a game. Can we play please right now with Stugotz? Can we just do that now? Or the game is still in its embryonic stage, so it's too early to play it.
Yeah, we could play a game that's Chris, do you dare go right on this service? Everything's flowing into 95 right now, okay?
Yep.
There's this little service lane that is wide open to the right. Now, if you get in it, it will take 5 minutes off your drive. If you get pulled over, it's a $220 ticket. How do I know? I've been pulled over. I've done it. But it seems wide. It seems wide open right now. Do you know the lane I'm talking about?
I do. That one's a little too dangerous for me, even. I have not done that unless I'm like really. I think I might have done it like once or twice. If I'm really.
Stugotz, have you ever gotten in the wrong lane, so you're not in the fast lane or the expensive lane, and you end up just driving over the plastic cones? How many times have you ever done that at all? Have you done it very much?
Yeah, I've done it. So when I'm not going to do it now, but I've done it several times because we used to have to be on the air at a certain time. And if I felt like, or I had a Mike and Mike or a Golic and Wingo appearance, if I felt like I wasn't going to be there in time, I would do whatever I had to do. And yes, to answer your question, yes, I have both gone from the main lane to 95 over to the express lane and driven over the cones. And I have left the express lane because there was an accident to hop back onto the main 95. I've done it both ways, dude. You do what you got to do.
No,
I mean, that's what driving and traffic is all about.
But it has nothing. But it has nothing to do with when the show starts. Okay, if I pay $9.40 to get into the express lane, and I get into that express lane, and it comes to a screeching halt, and everybody in the regular, the freebie people, are just flying by me, I don't give a shit. I don't care what time the show starts. I am getting over that. I am barreling over those things, and I'm getting back into the fast lane. I paid $9.40.
Terrible driver, Chris.
I paid $9.40 to go slower than the people.
Wait, hold on a second. What's the most you guys have paid to do that? $9? If it's no, but I've seen it expensive sometimes. Yeah. If it's above 25 cents, I'll wait an hour and a half and I'll go in the slow lane.
Billy, when the Heat were like really going, when the big three were down here and you would drive north to south to get to those games, I'm telling you, there are times where they had it at $25, $30. And I took it every time.
My Sun Pass is the one thing my mom still pays for me, so I don't worry about that.
Oh, Lord.
Is
Greg on today?
An accident, guys.
Have you thanked her?
I got an accident.
Yeah, Greg is on
a little Peloton bike. Enough of these Peloton trucks. I mean, Jesus Christ. Peloton.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Are you
take that bike to a you take that bike to some sort of high rise in Miami where some guy is going to get on the bike and look across a window and sees a beautiful lady on a bike doing the same exact routine at the same time. Hey, what a crock of shit. Seriously.
Unless they want to
sponsor. Peloton as a sponsor.
I was going to say, it seems like you were
as a sponsor.
It seemed like you were unable to close the Peloton deal with the amount of freedom you had there ripping them.
They chose Stephen A. Smith. I mean,
weren't we supposed to get some Pelotons? Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Are you surprised at all that Chris's mom is still paying for his Sun Pass? Stugotz, I'm going to go get you your coffee now, so it's here nice and warm when you get here. Don't throw any questions to me.
Okay, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I am in the express lane now, guys. This is very exciting. Express lane. Now, Chris, here's what I will also do. I'll tell you, the rare time I do not hop into the express lane is I feel like 95 is open. And then you see someone who paid $8 to be in the express lane, and they are sitting in traffic because in the express lane, it's just 2 lanes.
Yeah.
So if there's an accident, you will be waiting for days in that express lane, okay?
Yeah.
Tell me you haven't driven past laughing at the people in the express lane who paid $8 while you are sailing along for free.
No, I'm usually that sucker. Right? I'm usually that sucker that's sitting in the express lane, and that's why I end up barreling over those things because I'm like, this is bullshit.
Big mistake. Don't always take the express lane, Chris.
It's a dangerous game, though, because sometimes it starts slow, and then like you think you're screwed, and then it picks up, and then the fast lane on the right ends up being slowed down by Miami. It's a dangerous game.
You said dangerous game 6,000 times today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's also margin of error. That's what it's all about, Chris. It's you have 2 lanes here. If the slightest thing happens in the express lane, it will screw up your entire day. Okay. Mm-hmm. But on 95 in the main area, you have 4 or 5 lanes. And so even if something happens, you can still get through it a little bit quicker. You know what I'm saying?
What do those cones or columns or poles or whatever do to your car when you run them over? Because I'm always worried that it'll either not dent my car, but maybe like scuff the paint or like do something underneath. It's really the underneath that I'm worried about. The thing popping up and hitting like a hose of some kind and messing something up in my undercarriage.
I want to say what it is.
Are you asking me? Like,
it's a dangerous
what am I, mechanic? I mean,
it has scuffed the paint. It has scuffed the paint of people's cars. So, yeah, that does happen.
Roy, did they make them like steel or something? Like, did they make them so you can't run them over now?
No, they're still plastic. They're just very, very hard plastic. And I'm afraid that the thing that the plastic is attached to on the actual highway portion can, like, pop your tire. So I would be very leery of doing that, switching over.
Okay. I mean, Chris, the first time you drove over them, you were a nervous wreck. It's like driving over the spikes when you return your rental car, right?
Yeah, but it's like having sex. Once you do it one time, you're good.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to scare anyone because if you drive by, they're all knocked down. So it seems like people are willing to just hit them.
I don't think that's the case.
Works?
Yeah,
I don't think that's how it works.
Well, I didn't really get the sex comparison.
It's a saying. It's a saying as old as time. Once you do it once, you're good.
You see that? You see that heady play that Dan just made over here, leaving to get coffee.
I don't know about you guys. I feel like it's really opened up since he left. I feel like we're freer now. We're all.
You're in the express lane.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh shit! Almost an accident. Holy shit! I'm not even joking. Express lane. Everyone stop. Holy mother.
Stugotz, you know someone that you should talk to on Stupidity? And maybe
wait, hold on a second, Billy.
Yes.
Billy, hold on. Stanger, Green, and Finer. Little billboard. You really think they got this guy $350K? Here's what I would ask this guy who's in the here's what I would ask the guy on the billboard, okay? Maybe they did get him $350K. How much were they supposed to get him, though? Right, exactly. How much did the attorney get? Oh, there's a little cop action here. Billy, save that stupidity question. Hold on, a little police action here.
A little plaction.
Let me see what's happening. A little pullover on the express lane here.
I heard that beeping from your car forcing you to slow down there.
Yeah, it was telling me to slow down, right? Like the car stops itself. Hey, why is the cop pulling a guy over an express lane? I mean, listen, if you take the express lane and pay, what you're paying for is the right to go 190 miles per hour if you want. Give me a break.
These cars stopping themselves, by the way, you want to talk about a dangerous game.
I don't like
That's
that.
a dangerous game. I mean, all of a sudden it's going to happen.
I don't like it either.
When it's not supposed to happen. There's going to be
I'll crash if I want to crash. Okay,
Thank you. I'll stop when I want to stop.
Oh, little accident to my right, Chris, in the main lane.
Little axie?
Little axie. Billy, what were you telling me about stupidity?
Well, so we were talking about, now it doesn't make sense because we've moved well past it, but we were talking about, the traffic cones and barricades and all that. I think you should talk to Bob from Bob's Barricades, because Bob's Barricades seems to have a monopoly on barricades. I don't know if it's just a thing down here, or if it's a nationwide monopoly. And the guy has to live in a castle of traffic cones, because every traffic cone that I see is a Bob's Barricade. And I need to know how much Bob is worth, how he built this empire of barricades. I don't know if this is a thing that you want to talk to him about, but I feel like someone needs to talk to Bob.
Oh, he's a millionaire. It's got to be.
Why don't we talk to him? Why don't we all talk to him?
I'm down to talk to him. Stugotz, I'm thinking we make a cheaper barricade. We call it Stu's Barricades.
Ooh, I like that.
No,
I like that.
I don't think Bob's someone you want to cross in the barricade world.
That's true.
I tend to. Bob's probably a badass. I tend to agree with Billy on that.
Well, so let me tell you something. The other day,
but maybe we can partner with him on Barricades somehow.
I don't think he needs us.
Oh my
I think
God.
Bob's got it figured out.
God, wait, Chris Whittingham just sent me this article in the chat, and this Bob is not who you think he is. His name is Happy Alter, and he looks like a Bob. His name should be Bob, looking at a picture at him, but apparently Bob's real name is Happy Alter.
So did he inherit Bob's company? Did he somehow cheat Bob out of his fortune? What happened here? How did Happy become the king of the Bob's Barricade empire?
I would have thought Happy Barricades would have been a better name.
Bob's more relatable.
Yeah, but what's
and then you have
Happy
the
been a
BB.
barricade? I mean,
That's true.
Yeah.
Barricades are boring.
The thing about the
Bob's
barricade game,
Barricades.
the thing about the barricade game, Stugotz, that you need to worry about. I was getting ice cream the other day. An ice cream truck drove around in the neighborhood. I heard it. I got excited. I ran outside to get ice cream for the first time in over a decade.
Ice cream truck.
I know.
Yeah.
I think it's something we all take for granted, the ice cream truck. And then you finally get to it. It turned the corner. I then had to go around the other way to try to cut it off so that I wouldn't be running down the street to chase this ice cream. Anyway, I saw the ice cream man, and he's just kind of casually driving around. He has the two big coolers in the back of his truck. He's just handing out ice cream. I go, you know what? This seems like a nice side gig / retirement gig. Just kind of drive around the neighborhood, sell some ice cream. I don't want to say anything, but, maybe you fudge you the whale the numbers there because it's all cash, so nobody knows how much you're actually making. Not that I'm saying that anybody does that. But you just go to a good park, you pull up, you stop, and then they come, they buy the ice cream, you're good, you go home. But I feel like there's an underworld of the ice cream truck game where people have certain parks and you're not allowed to just go to any park that you want to go to. And I'm wondering what the dark side of the ice cream game is. So maybe after we talk to Bob, we can investigate the dark side of the ice cream world.
Just to
Billy,
put
I like the idea. I like the idea of me, you, and perhaps Chris and Roy, if they want, just trying to solve some of life's great mysteries. And I think you're right. This is one of them. I think Barricades and an ice cream truck guys are gonna. Can we do this, please? I'm serious.
I'm gonna write this down.
Can we do this?
We'll come up with a name, but it has to end with blah blah blah. Investigates.
So after research,
I'm on the causeway right now.
Oh, the causeway.
Hold on, Chris.
The kayak. No, this is
I'm
important.
passing the. Have you guys gone to the Arts Center for anything? Anything?
I have.
No.
What, Roy?
I saw BB King.
Wow.
Oh, nice,
died, yeah.
nice.
I think I saw the Little Mermaid.
Anything else?
Little Mermaid.
Well, that's about it. Yeah.
Just to put a bow on the Bob's Barricades thing, apparently he calls it Bob's just because Bob is a name that people seem to like. That's his reasoning for
and it also goes with Barricades.
Yeah.
Right, it does flow.
Yeah, the old double
Save this
B
for
there,
the research. You're kind of ruining the investigation.
Yeah, I'm undermining the interview that we do.
Causeway, seeing a cruise. When's the last time you guys were on the Causeway? Now that I'm thinking about it.
Last week.
Last week.
Oh man, the home stretch. Once you get on the Causeway, it's all downhill from there, Stugotz. Stugotz, how often do you make a little pit stop at that Burger King on the way in if you got time?
Usually way home, Chris.
The way out.
I rifle a chicken sandwich with cheese right down my throat.
Little secret snack.
Well, it's lunch.
What's your go-to breakfast from a drive-through? Not Starbucks included.
I'm embarrassed to admit.
I think a bacon, egg, and cheese, probably.
I didn't know what a McGriddle was until like 2 years ago.
Really?
I go breakfast burrito from McDonald's.
Really? Mm-hmm. Breakfast burrito. I used to love the Cine Minis.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, but they changed.
Only because I forgot. I am tempted to go through that BK only because I forgot the bagel my wife made.
That was nice of her to make that for you.
It was very nice. I think I guilted her into it yesterday.
And then you leave and she just sees it sitting on the counter.
She has sent me 4 texts, Chris. As soon as I'm done with this thing, I am going to get laced up on text by my wife. Really? You complain about it on air that I make something for you and you leave it here?
Guys, I have another question. Just thinking about the drive-through, because when you say you were going to go to Burger King, I thought, Burger King hash browns not the best. I prefer the McDonald's hash browns. Mm-hmm. So not for breakfast, for lunch. If you could make a perfect fast food meal made up of individual ingredients from different restaurants, what would it be? Like, so for example, McDonald's.
What a great question.
McDonald's has great fries, but they do not have great Coke. Their soda, for whatever reason, tastes a little bit off. I like the soda.
No, Billy's right.
I like McDonald's.
McDonald's has by far the better fountain soda.
That's what. No, Billy just said the opposite. I agree. I was on Stugotz's side. I've always thought that McDonald's has elite Coke.
No.
Whoa. Billy's saying that Burger King has the better fountain sodas?
He's saying that McDonald's doesn't have good Coke.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I don't know, Bill. I think their Coke's good, but anyway, go ahead.
I used to like the High C Orange at McDonald's, and then they got rid of that for some reason. I don't know. There's something about the mixture.
Well, we're not talking about these modern, terrible machines that mix all the drinks together. I hate those machines.
No.
That's one area where technology has failed us with those.
I love those machines.
The only reason I like that machine is because it has grape Welch's, and I love grape Welch's.
But your grape Welch tastes like orange Welch. It tastes like apple Welch. It combines all the Welch's.
No, you got to push a button. You push the button first. You let it drip down a little bit. You clear out whatever the person before you did, and then you're fine.
Dangerous game.
Can I address this with Bill though, real quick? Because I think this is such a great question. Because I think the chicken sandwich at Burger King is far superior to the one at McDonald's, but the McDonald's fries are far superior to the fries you get at Burger King. Now,
if you throw in Arby's or Checkers, I feel like they have better fries than McDonald's. If you're doing the standard fries, I think I would do. Okay, how about this?
Well, those are seasoned fries.
I'm working in a cheesy gordita crunch as well.
If I'm doing like the big 3, big 4, where you can only do like 1 or 2 things for each, I think I would do a Whopper or double Whopper, whatever you choose. I think I would do McDonald's fries. I'd do Wendy's chicken nuggets, and then I'd get soda from. Oh, you know where I'd save Wendy's.
I'd save my dessert for Wendy's with a Frosty.
Oh, solid.
Oh, you know what I might do? I might go to Steak and Shake for a patty melt, though.
Hey, I'm on I think it's the 11th hour. Get me coffee.
Yell something at him. Heckle him.
Ooh.
There's this guy right next to us at the Clue, and they're selling all this Ohio State merch. And let me tell you, who the hell is buying Ohio State merch today?
Stugotz, Greg Cote just joined the Zoom. Also, I had to go by last week in and out to pick up my computer, and I noticed something that was surprising / alarming. The hotel next to the Clevelander still had all the racks set up for Super Bowl merchandise last year. It looked like a war zone. I don't know if you guys have caught on to that. Time just seemed to stop at that hotel, where I guess it's not open anymore. And all the racks with the Super Bowl teams and the Super Bowl logos was still on it. They were empty racks, but it's still just set up. It seemed like time just stopped.
It is.
Yeah.
Now it's set up for Ohio State. And let me tell you, I mean, timing is everything in life. I am going to walk into that thing, and I'm going to tell this, like, I'm going to buy 1 and get 2 free. I mean, this is the lowest point for Ohio State merchandise, okay? So this guy better give me a serious discount. I'm actually going to negotiate with him. Not even joking.
What are you going to?
Guys, I'm in the garage. How about that? Waze, I kicked your ass. Listen, Waze had me here at 9:03. I got here at 8:58. I've been like 5 minutes. How about that?
Look at that. Now you got time.
I'm going to celebrate with a dart in the garage. I'll see you guys.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
So we were just talking here before we turned the microphones on, and very few times in my career have I ever seen a guy from sports where I've said I could work with that guy as a co-host because he could do all the entertainment stuff and isn't afraid. And I have seen very few athletes, some professional media people I've seen, but very few athletes who could do it. And Chris Long is one of them, and one of a very short list. So a number of different topics I want to cover with him today, and we'll tell you about his podcast that you should be listening to in a second. But first, you've made what of what's happened with your Eagles? Because that Eagles team that won the Super Bowl is one of the best teams I've ever seen in my life, and I can't believe how quickly everything fell apart.
Well, first, Dan, thanks for the kind words, man. The media thing's, it's not too bad. You know, my body feels a lot better. I don't get yelled at. So it's not bad. So I appreciate that. Hey, the Eagles, 2017, I would agree with you. We were, I mean, at least in the last 20 years, you have to look at us as one of the best few teams. I mean, there was certainly some teams that had, you know, like Seattle when they beat Denver. You know, they were kind of this renegade team. We had a vibe kind of like that. We were just one of those teams that when you saw the Bills before the Colts game and everybody sees them in practice, and this isn't the perfect way of thinking, but look at them dancing, they're going to win. Like I kind of, they made me think about our group. You know, when you see a team that's just having fun and it's clicked, that was us.
Oh, but you guys knew how good you were. Like, you knew that offensive line is one of the – well, you knew better than most.
Yeah.
I was arguing that offensive line is the single greatest offensive line in the history of the game.
It's up there, dude.
They made a backup quarterback look like Nick Foles. Nick Foles wasn't that good. I mean, I know he was good for you guys, but they made that dude.
Well, they made a lot of things. I mean, I'm not saying they made – I'm not boiling it down and simplifying it that way, but I would agree with you, Dan, that they are up there as far as the best offensive lines in the history of the game because, you know, people will be like, what about the Hogs and that sort of thing? Like, no disrespect to, like, people from the 80s or the 70s. I had, you know, my dad's a Hall of Famer, played in the 80s, and, you know, in the 90s, the sizes started to change. But, like, these guys are massive human beings. Brandon Brooks is 330 pounds with a six-pack. Okay, Lane Johnson is bigger than you think. And Lane Johnson, I went against him in practice every day. He's the best right tackle that I ever played. And you've got Jason Peters, who, you know, he's fallen off a little bit since then. I mean, he might be retiring, but it was a great group. Kelsey, you know, and that was the engine for sure. We also had a really good defensive front, and we covered some things up, you know, on the back end a little bit. But we were just not going to be denied. And so I think what you had there was, and I've said this before, and it was controversial when I said it a year ago, but I wasn't saying it like it was a slight. It was kind of lightning in a bottle, it looks like. Because in the NFL, when your window's open, you either know it's going to close quickly or you don't. And what's happened is over the past couple of years, I feel like there was a sense maybe a little bit that, hey, we're going to be here a little bit. And this illustrates how hard it is to stay there. It's one thing to get there, but it's really hard to stay there. And that's why I think so much of what they've been able to do in New England, no matter what you think about them, even this year, they found a way to motivate guys to be competitive, not to crater, and to beat some very good teams.
They cheat, though. You think they're cheaters, right?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know. Listen, Spygate, whatever you think, if they cheated there, they cheated there. But not while I was there. They didn't cheat.
But Chris, how does this work for you? Because I think the reason Eagle fans thought the way they did after winning that Super Bowl was because they had that position, the quarterback position, secured, and they had it for the next decade. So
it's crazy.
What do you do?
And they still might. Here's the thing: like Carson had a terrible year. I've said that. Like you can very objectively point out that he had a terrible year, but you can also very objectively point out that when a guy shows you what he showed in 2017. 2019, he was hurt in 2018. You know, with that cratered roster, throwing to guys that are shadow pictures in the program, like literally, like Baker Mayfield said he met his guard the other night, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like Carson, it was like a carousel of receivers last year. Like And so him being able to do what he did in December, that gives you reason to believe that maybe this is an anomaly. But they have to find out quickly, right? Because they have to make a decision. And I think it's going to be a tough one. The cap could be down at 175, right, Dan? So I'm hearing some things about maybe it's not going to be as bad as we thought. It's going to be really hard to move Carson because of not other teams' ability to absorb his contract, but the Eagles' ability to eat that dead cap. So now you've got Jalen Hurts, who you might have alienated. You've got Carson, who might feel alienated. And you've got a training camp with a new coach and an OTA with a new coach, whoever that is. And a job that a lot of guys might not want to take. You're 60 mil over the cap. Your roster's aging. And the guy who won a Super Bowl, and there's a statue of him outside the stadium, he left because, in part, he wanted more control. If I'm a coach and I'm like, if I'm a really good coach who's got clout, do I want to go into a situation with a guy that just left and won them a Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history, wanted more control?
Chris, help me with something here, because if I'd come up to you and said, hey, in a few years, Doug Peterson's going to get fired, you're saying to me there's a scandal there before you're saying to me everything fell apart, right? There's no way you would believe that you'd be talking to us that soon after that overwhelming team and that the leader of it didn't become something that more resembled Belichick than a dude with sausage fingers who's being fired 4 years in.
He does have big hands. I would say this, like Belichick is a hard. I mean, that's extreme because there's only one of those guys, right? Everybody else, for the most part, like coaches, they're relevant. They you might stay the same place for 10, 15 years, but if you're lucky if you get one, right? And I wouldn't have bet on Doug being gone within 4 years, but I also know how hot it is in Philly. Like, I'm one of the smartest people of all time. I got out of there before shit hit the fan. Like I'm good there. And I love the fact that like people like me in Philly and all that stuff. But also you might have hated me if I stuck around 1 more year or 2 more years. Yeah. Like this is what happens when teams struggle. Everybody gets put under the heat.
You did good mercenary work in both places, actually. Like I get in and I get out. And New England, like you got in. That is New England, Philadelphia. That's some expendable shit.
Go here with a Super Bowl. Go there with a Super Bowl. In and out mission.
Wait a minute. What is that? Are the Super Bowls right over your shoulder?
Are those 2 Lombardis?
Yeah, but they're replicas, dude. The thing that like people the reason I put him back there, it was funny. Somebody the other day bust my balls and they were like, oh, cool flex. I'm like, this is not a flex to me. I was there, okay? That's the way I think about being on a Super Bowl team, especially New England, where like my role was like, by the end of the year, my role was just a pass rush. In Philly, I felt like I was a bigger part of that. But still, I mean, like, they're just replicas, man,
Yeah, but they're 2 Lombardis. Is that a bear also behind you? And it appears to be a little Buddha right in front of the Vince Lombardi.
Now, what are you going for?
What
is the aesthetic we're going for there, Long? Explain it. It's a radio audience, a podcast audience. So go ahead and describe what you're sitting in the center of now, your empire.
Well, my house is a mid-century modern farmhouse, for context, okay? I have a tremendous eye for design. But my studio, we threw this shit together like a year ago when we were like, oh, we got to do a live YouTube. We're trying to live stream a game or something, and we got all this stuff. Like, I got printed pictures that I framed back here. I've got 2 replicas. I got some records. You guys don't even see this. I got 2 of these guys.
What is
They're
that?
What is it? They're in a duel. What does it look like, Darren? It's a squirrel with a pistol.
Oh, of course.
Of course. Well, tell people. So this studio's there for the Greenlight Pod, right? Like you guys, go ahead and tell people what you're doing so people know that you're sitting in the center of something. Chris Long is building something now where he's going to do in retirement what's very hard to do. One of these guys who gets their identity from football. Yeah. Nothing replaces the gladiator spectacle of Sundays. What can I do that will ever fill that hole? Well, there's nothing that'll fill that hole. But here, I'm going to try my hand at entertainment here. I'm going to do what my dad did. I'm gonna try and stay close to the sport while outside the sport and missing the sport forever.
Well, I can tell you, if you're a former player, don't try to fill that void with gambling. It's really hard, especially on the NFL. But listen, I love doing the pod. I love talking to people. I'd love to have you guys on sometime. But we're indie, so you guys just had a big change. I decided to avoid all of that stuff altogether. And that certainly cost me some listenership. I don't have like people pumping the numbers, and I don't have a nice big platform. But, it's nice to kind of set my own schedule. And in the season, we do a pod on Mondays with Stanford Steve. Stanford Steve and I break down the Sunday's action. We had a really fun one yesterday, previewing last night. As of, if you're listening, it might have been a few nights ago, but I had James Laurinaitis on, Stanford Steve. One of my best buddies from high school and I decided, well, he kind of walked in one day and was like, hey, dude, you kind of need a co-host. And I was like, what are you saying? He's like, looking at me like, come on, dude. And my boy Macon and I have been sitting here in this other chair that you can't see out of picture.
Are you a free agent? Are you available right now? Should we be talking off air, or do you belong to anybody right now?
Talk about it on air.
We're starting a podcast network,
A couple of podcasters cutting it out.
Yeah, we've got a podcast network, and we don't know. Like, you're a free agent as well? You're in the middle of free agent.
I'm so free, dude. I'm so free. We do 4 pods a week, so we're busy. We hustle. We grind. The evaluators should know that, and we're high character.
Right.
And Dan, I do love it. I have replaced football with this. The grind of I didn't know how hard it was to be in the media, especially during football season. I'm as tired as I was as when I played. It's just mental, Great. And certainly there's days where what do you do, Dan, when you wake up and you don't want to talk one day?
It's exhausting. No, Chris, it's why most people don't have a radio show and a TV show. It's why it's really hard to be Stephen A. Smith, the always onness of it. I've talked to people who work hard manual labor, and they will tell you that the doing of this is more physically exhausting. And it seems ridiculous to me, given what you did for a living, but you might be more tired now at the end of days than you used to be.
I never really have mornings where I wake up and don't want to speak into a microphone, but the rare times that I do, Chris, what I do is I smoke a blunt. Okay, that's what I do.
Yeah, well, I like a joint. I go out on that porch there.
Oh, boy.
And you know what, though? I don't like to smoke before I talk to people I don't know well. It makes me like a tad paranoid of like the conversational undertones.
Same here.
If I know somebody well, like I'm out there on the porch.
Well, hold on, Chris. Can we do this? Because I told Stugotz that we wanted to smoke on air today, and I don't know if you brought weed or not, but if you did bring weed and you have weed, it'd be nice if we now...
You guys sound like cops right now.
No, we should do it. Let's get your podcast some attention here. You can go viral with a moment. Chris Long and Stugotz smoke weed while talking.
I would like to do an episode.
This is a morning work day. I left my stuff at home. I got to go play with the kids. Listen. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's the best job in the world that I can hit the porch and then talk into a microphone. But it does get exhausting, and some days you don't like. You know what sucks is planning your shit, like planning your own pod, like on days where there's nothing to talk about. You're trying to contrive something, and you can feel it when you're trying to contrive a day. And it's just like, what do you do? I don't know.
Chris, surround yourself with people you like, because that doesn't feel that way to us when we're doing the show. We love doing it with each other because it's like the locker room. It's just friends around and just
no doubt. You guys have a good thing, and you live in cities where you can hire. Like Cowboy Reed, shout out to my producer. And shout out to John. John's remote. Cowboy Reed's here. It's great, but most days it's me and Cowboy Reed. Like someday, my co-host sells real estate for a living, slings single-family homes.
Does he want to work in Miami? Do these guys want to work in Miami? You can stay put. Let's just negotiate.
Miami.
Let's just negotiate right now on air. I think I could do that.
And listen, lighting a joint around all that expensive equipment, Chris, is very dangerous. So I don't want you to do that. And I didn't bring weed today,
we don't
although
want the smell in here.
Right. So let's take mushrooms. I mean, what do you think?
Because my foundation office is downstairs, and if I have some bigwig in and he's like, it smells like the hot leaf, the devil's lettuce up there, I'm not going to donate, So there's an upstairs and there's a downstairs, and we're in the penthouse.
How about shrooms? They don't smell. What do you think?
No, they don't. No comment, but they don't smell.
No comment. Okay. Very good. All right.
I can get weed right outside.
This is what we need to do as part of negotiations. All right, Chris, before we go on with this conversation and tell people more about the Green Light Pod, what we're going to end up doing is a little bit of a merger here for a couple of days. If you need content and we need content, and by way of negotiating with you to see if we can get you to be a part of the podcast network, we need to do some home and homes. Well, but I want to do drugs with you on air. You and Stugotz.
I will rip massive bong hits, and you and I will do an episode.
I think that would be
a bad idea.
No, it's not.
I talked to Dan and Eric about this. I know I'm not supposed to call him Eric because the little Barstool guys get mad because they say his name's PFT. I call him Eric. Eric brought up bongs the other day, and I think bongs are kind of like a 20-something thing. Is that a hot take?
Are you too old for that?
Really?
You're too old for bongs already?
He said, really? You know when he said, really?
But I was told I was told bongs were the healthiest way to. Listen, I have no
Did you
issues.
bring weed today? Yes or no?
I do not have weed on me today. I don't. I don't have weed.
I'll
bring it tomorrow.
Later this week. Look, we're off tomorrow, but on Thursday, I want to do this home and home. On Thursday, as part of negotiations to try and get Chris Long to work as part of our podcast network, Chris Long and Stugotz will smoke weed and talk sports.
He already said no to this.
Take a hint.
I mean, I don't know. I don't say no to anything. I set my schedule 24 hours out. You know, that's why Stu was trying to get me on the show, and I just waited till yesterday to figure a time. So there's a chance. I mean, I don't know. Check back with me later in the week, Stu.
All right, done. All right. Done. Listen, I will bring weed with me to work every day for the remainder of my life. Okay?
The rest of your life. What are the laws like down there?
I mean, it's Miami.
It's Miami. Chris, come on. What do you mean, what are the laws? Like, what laws? What do you speak of? What are you talking about?
I can tell you guys the Florida, they don't have their shit together right now.
It's so embarrassing.
Was that Bama party with 10,000 people in Florida? Or
No,
was
that
in
was
Tuscaloosa?
not here.
We're fully operational and open for business.
No, but that was Tuscaloosa, all those people. How mortified are you by that, Chris? We've been fooling around with you, but what you see happening in America right now, and you have
As I cough, jeez.
Yes, because he's smoking. For those of you who can't see it, he just took a big rip.
I know. You know what? It's golly, dude. I wish we would all just think of each other a little bit more. I think it's pretty much that simple. And when this thing started, I get the fact that some people don't get as sick and that sort of thing. And I'm not a doctor, nor am I overly political. And that's been something that's just been totally misconstrued because I'm one of the few people that said they don't like that big orange piece of shit. Listen, this whole thing, we could be so much further ahead if we just thought about each other a little bit. And I totally get that some people are hurting, businesses are hurting, and I heard the whole riot act on the economy and that sort of thing, but there's nothing essential about that kind of party. Nor was there anything essential about the Lakers parade or not the parade, the party outside the Staples Center. So I don't just want to pick on the red states. There are people that are just finding excuses to party right now, dude.
Well, I'd like to get into where it is you see America right now. Like, you have been someone who's been vocal on the race stuff, Chris. And Mike Ryan was saying earlier when we were talking, like, what do those people who were storming our symbol for freedom say when you ask them, hey, what do you think of the way Kaepernick protested? Like,
I don't ask them many things at all, those people. I've given up on conversations. That's not to say anybody – when I say something like I've given up trying to reason with people like that, that's not to say that like somebody's going to swoop you up in a white van and take you away. I know you like to quote George Orwell, and you never read the fucking book, but like nobody's persecuting you. In fact, you just stormed the Capitol and walked out like it was a movie theater. So I just would say I am personally out of gas on a dialogue. I really am. It just sucks, dude. It sucks that well, at least we know now that it was never about, there was never any plausible deniability in my mind, but now it's very obvious it was never about patriotism. It was never about America. It was never about law and order. These people have stumbled over themselves and been hypocritical at every turn in the road. So I think it sucks. I used to be very patriotic. I have a hard time being as patriotic, and my patriotism always comes from a place of the people. We love America. I love living here. I haven't moved. I love people that I meet. I love the different cultures. I think we have so many good things going on, but our government is just, it's kind of in shambles, man. I don't know. It's scary a little bit.
Not a little bit. Not a little bit. A lot of it. So
a lot of it.
So
50% of the country voted for the guy. So, everybody kept saying it New Year's Eve, can't wait to get this year over with. I was like, what happens at midnight?
Well, Stan Van Gundy says we're in the middle of civil war, that this is going to continue. It's going to be the 20th. There's going to be domestic terrorism. You see the reports, 50 capitals, armed people. We're headed towards something. It's not a little bit scary, Chris. It's a lot of bits. It's the crisis of our lifetime.
Yeah. We are, I guess, at an impasse. I'm sorry if I sound defeated, but when people came out in droves to vote for him a second time, I kind of was like, okay, this is who we are. I mean, this has always been who we are. I hate hearing, I know it's almost impossible to speak on this without somebody criticizing you, and you could think you're saying the right thing and saying this isn't who we are, and people are like, this is who we are, motherfucker. They're kind of right though. I mean, this is who we've been. I mean, this surfaced because this status quo has been threatened in the least bit. I mean, just in the least bit, this is the reaction. So, the white supremacy, the being a joke on a national or international stage, because like this is the shit you turn on TV and you're like, that's what's happening over there. You got people in fur coats and Viking horns storming the Capitol building. Like we used to thumb our nose at like shit like that, right? This is here now. Like this is us, dude.
Well, this is the thing that was crushing to me. I was talking about this earlier, Chris. As much as I'm emotional and angry and scared about all this, it's just coding. What I am more than anything is heartbroken. I knew there were race issues in the country. I did not know that they were this. I simply didn't know they were this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's not like I grew up in the South, but Virginia, south of the Mason-Dixon line, you see things. I mean, like you see people driving around with stars in bars and all that sort of thing. But it was always fringy. Like you couldn't say it out loud. And I think one of the most dangerous things this guy has done is empower people to just speak loudly about that sort of sentiment. And also kind of proves that, hey, if you're thinking about being like a fascist and you want to run for office, it's possible. Like you can get half the country's votes and barely speak English. Like you can barely get sentences out. We saw that since the debate stage in 2016. I'm in Foxborough watching the debates, getting ready to play for the Patriots. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, there's no way. I'm so ashamed that this guy's even on the debate stage. How did we get here?
What did you
4
make
years later?
What did you make of Belichick? Because that team, while you were there, was Trumpy, was a little, you had Brady and Belichick and Kraft, all of them a little too chummy there.
There's a lot of Trumpy athletes and there's a lot of Trumpy coaches. And I think sometimes they became like the poster children, but
yesterday, Belichick, Chris, yesterday refusing the highest civilian honor because he wasn't going to take it from a rapey, orange, racist turd.
Hey, listen, man. I said this before. I am not an overly political person. I was so relieved. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of Bill. I really do. And I think people can have differences. And at some point, and I said earlier, I'm over the dialogue with people. That's not to say I'll judge a friend if they continue to try to work on the 70-something million people. Like if a buddy of mine's like, I just can't give up on people. I'm still going to try to reach them. I'm still going to try to have these tough conversations. I'm not going to cancel them. I'm not going to cancel that friend for engaging. I'm just done engaging. And I did not want to, when I heard he was getting that honor, if you call it an honor at this point, I was just like, God, I hope he does the right thing because I know he's principled. I know, as a coach, he doesn't, you guys are like, well, he's a cheater. But I know as a coach, like, he doesn't like bullshit. He doesn't like people that are full of shit. He doesn't like, as he would put it, assholes. And I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I'm trying to imagine why in somebody's head, who I know is so smart and claims to love the country as much as he does, that he would accept this award. And I've just been so bummed by everybody. Every turn in the road, you're like, somebody has a breakout game. You're like, okay, that guy is, he wears a red hat, by the way. We found some old tweets. To get this bit of good news in the sports world that somebody like stood up, although it was very late, I was really relieved because I really like Bill.
Does he like Brady?
Does Bill like Brady?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm sure he likes Brady.
Okay.
I'm sure he really likes Brady right now.
Do you like Brady? Does the politics there get in the way? I don't know, but we can guess. Brady.
You guys like Masvidal, right?
Well, we've had to break free from the QAnon. We've had to once it got so deep that you were out there doing propaganda for Trump, and I'm sitting there trying to do a moderation right before the election, Chris, of Cuban Americans in this state where I was going to moderate something, and Masvidal's running around doing something dangerous, and I couldn't engage from there. No, that's an uneasy alliance that we carried because it was colorful and entertaining for a long time.
Uneasy, but I think
the thing that sucks is you're having to make these decisions about a lot of people, right? Like, and again, it's not like they're getting snatched up in a white van as a lot of these conservatives, and I don't even have a problem with conservatives. If you're a conservative and you're like a never Trumper, like all that shit. Like, dude, this is political discourse is what makes this country great, and being able to have a view and that sort of thing. Like, but there are certain people that, you're like, damn, that would hurt me if you found out. And so, listen, I don't know Tom's politics at this point. I know at one point he was cool with that dude and that sort of thing, but I like Tom. Tom and I, I shared a great year with Tom. Tom and I didn't share a great year. But I'll always
wait a minute.
remember.
What was that? What's the distinction you're making there? You tried to get close to Tom, but Tom wouldn't allow you too close. What's the distinction?
No, not at all. Like I just know my place in Patriot. Like you never want to say something like, me and Tom. Like there's no me and Tom. Even though Tom was the most regular, like superstar GOAT type teammate I had, I was so surprised at how down to earth he was and treated everybody in the building really well. The first day I walked in, I told this story before. He was like, I walk up and I'm like, I'll introduce myself or whatever. And before I could even get to him, he's like, hey, Chris, nice to meet you. I'm Tom. And I'm like, no shit, dude. You don't have to introduce yourself to people. But that simple action and I saw him do it with so many people. It's really endearing as a teammate. But also in Tampa, look at what he's done this year. He can be the asshole.
Oh, but Chris, there, come on.
Here we go. Here we go.
Chris.
Performance arts.
Don't say it,
the
Dan.
end's coming
Dan,
out.
I care
The
about
end's coming
you.
out. We got to be
Chris, but I'm just saying, like, that's HGH, isn't it? Like, come on. He's 43 years old. Like,
why does it have to be HGH? The guy can barely run. If you're on HGH, don't you, like, run and jump and look jacked and all types of shit?
He's just aging differently than anyone in the history of the position. You're supposed to age
it could
the
be
way
Botox, bro. You're looking at his face. You saw the George Blanda graphic the other night. George Blanda didn't have avocado ice cream. You can't compare eras, bro.
That was a jarring picture. Why did Belichick kick Guerrero out of the stadium? Explain that one, okay?
Guerrero. I don't know any Guerrero.
The doctor.
Who's Guerrero?
The doctor. Tom's doctor. TB12.
Oh, Tom. Alex Guerrero.
Yeah.
Again, me and Tom. There's no me and Tom. I just observed Tom. I don't know. Probably because, like, in the NFL, trainers work they're not bad guys. They just work for the team. And I've got trainers I'm still really tight with. Shout out to the Rams training staff, Reggie Scott, Byron, Tyler, all those guys. We're still in a fantasy basketball league. So I love trainers, bro. But they work for the team, and Alex Guerrero works for Tom. So eventually that's going to come to a head. I mean, when you're trying to diagnose something and be very protective of your client, and the trainer's like, nah, dude, we can't have him sitting for 4 days in practice. I know it would be the best thing for his body. There's always this thing going on between people's gurus and the training staffs all over the league. But where that got awkward was, Tom is the GOAT. So, like, obviously Tom's guy's coming to work with him. And this place is like Fort Knox. Like that place has no windows, dude.
We'll get you out of here on this. And thanks again for the time. Green Light Pod, you should check it out because I enjoy what this guy finds himself thinking about. So one last serious question. As you're watching the symbolism of American freedom being stormed in our capital, and you've done a lot of thinking on the race front, you've been a white guy in a lot of black rooms, so I'm guessing that has imprinted you in some ways. So when the police are allowing those people into the building, which of these choices is Chris Long selecting? They are doing that because they've been ordered to do that, or they're doing that because when they see white faces, they don't see white faces as threatening until they're bashing in the skull of a police officer with a fire extinguisher, or both? What are the options there on how those people got let into that building, given what that building is meant to protect?
Well, first and foremost, I do believe that Trump told them to stand down. Now, whatever that means, you draw your own conclusions. I think he wanted that to happen, which is what makes him so dangerous and vile and un-American. But I also think a lot of those cops were probably just fine with that. And I think a lot of those cops, as you could see in some of those videos, were even kind of on the same team. And the irony of the whole thing is let me say this first. If you don't believe in white privilege, I know that some white folks get tired of hearing it because they take it as some like insult. I don't take it as an insult. I'm a good guy. I have a privilege, But privilege doesn't mean, the privilege to me is looking at it and saying, I want everybody to be treated like me. I'm not getting treated the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with the way I'm getting treated. That's just how everybody should get treated. So I don't walk around being guilty about it. But I think so many people they feel so attacked. Like, defensive. What did I do?
Defensive.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they're defensive. And I'm not no one's insulting you. That was the meme for white privilege, dude. That was literally the meme. That was like, if you're tired of hearing whataboutisms and you're tired of hearing like, well, what would happen if this happened, if a cop was encountering a white guy? What if a white suspect did this? That was like the Super Bowl of those scenarios. I mean, literally, there's no place I could imagine walking into and feeling safe. And I'm not one of these dumb white people that's not afraid of police. I'm afraid of police, okay? Like, when they're behind me in my car, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? Maybe it's the thing with Stugotz, the drugs.
Yeah.
But
probably. I mean,
but I think it was a bad day if you didn't believe in that. And hopefully a lot of people woke up to it. The fact that like all these people just walked in, and the irony of Blue Lives Matter flags, and you're like crushing police officers between riot shields. And I'm not somebody like, when David Dorn got shot, I thought that was up. And I don't think I think some people were so afraid of this political and ideological tug of war that nobody said that was wrong. That was wrong. But I'm here to say it was wrong for those people to crush that dude, to beat the guy with a fire extinguisher over the head. Like, what are we doing, dude? You're killing cops with Blue Lives Matter flags and American flags, walking with a guy with a stars and bars state capitol. Like, what are we doing here, dude? Chris, just say it. You don't like America. You've never liked America. You just like white America, dude. Like, it's just so clear. You just told on yourself. It's the whole group. So at least now we know that the red hat is not, like, to me, that red hat is no longer, and I don't care who I piss off saying this, like, that red hat is no longer, like, you don't have plausible deniability anymore. Like, you are literally anti-American. And if you're walking around in public with that hat, I'm not asking people to do anything about that. I'm just saying I'm looking at you as a traitor, as I always have. But now I can be like, hey, traitor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't even deny it.
Chris, how does that all look differently? I know you got to go, but how does that all look differently if the crowd storming those gates is a Black Lives Matter crowd? Because I think black bodies would have been stacked up in front of us like firewood. I believe
no doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. Like, no doubt about it. And, people are so tired of hearing this conversation. Well, if you're tired of hearing this conversation, then do something and use your voice and use your privilege or whatever you want to call it. If privilege bothers you, use another fucking word and do something with it. Because it's a meme. The whole thing's a meme. Like, what are we doing? Like, who are we? Do you think we're like 1,000 years old as a country? We're like 200 and something years old, man. Right? Where are we? Did I lose the track of how old we are?
Yeah, 200 something is correct. 200 something is accurate.
Yeah, we're like 250 years old or something. Countries are not like, it's not automatic that countries don't implode, on top of themselves. Like, look at history. I mean, I'm no scholar, but goddamn, Wikipedia, man. It's not looking good for us right now. And that's okay to say out loud.
Oh, but it's terrifying. It's just, it feels like this is how freedom crumbles. Like that. And when Stan Van Gundy's coming on here, Chris, and saying, hey, we're in a civil war. This isn't going to stop the 20th. It's not going to stop the 6th. Like, this is the first of acts like these because of the racial strife in this country.
Absolutely, man. And you said, like, taking freedoms away, like the thing that, the irony is, we are so, like, we're freedom fetish. Like, we love it. Like, we just scream freedom, and we wear, like, and I've worn the American flag onesies on 4th of July and shit. And I love the flag and because of the ideals that I imagine that what we could be and the diversity we have in this country. But if we're not doing right by people that we're proud to call fellow countrymen and countrywomen, it's like, it's pointless. All that shit's a facade. It's all a facade. And it always has been if we don't step it up. It always has been.
Chris, we're 243 years old.
Yeah, so I was off by about 7.
Yeah, younger than Greg Cote, in other words. Chris, thank you for being on with us. Anything that people need to know about the Green Light Pod? This is all going to go viral, Chris. It would have gone so much more viral if you and Stugotz had been in the middle of smoking marijuana while I was asking you those questions.
Let's get viral today.
Do you see, don't underestimate what a pro I am. What I'm going to do is be like, you guys owe me. You got to come on my pod and smoke marijuana.
Wow. All right, done.
So I get the viral moment. Guys, come on now. Green Light Pod. Check it out wherever you consume your content. And then also I got to plug my charity, Chris Long Foundation, waterboys.org. Check us out. We do a lot of clean water work, and, be a good year if you have the means and you are looking to donate, because I know it's hard to donate, to give us a little pick-me-up, because it is hard right now running a foundation.
Well, Chris, I will donate as part of a down payment toward negotiating with you off air in free agency. All right. So
look at you.
Get Mike Ryan your information. I need to figure something out here.
Send me your jet, Jerry Jones. Like, what are we doing here? Come on, you gotta wine and dine me here. I haven't been out of the house in a while.
My contribution is weed. Okay.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
Just take me to Wet Willie's, guys.
All right. I don't even know if it'll open again. Wet Willie's is right. No, it's still here. It's a couple of blocks from us. It's okay.
It's open right now, Dan.
Yep.
Come on, go get a call cab.
All right, go get one of those right now. In fact, you know what? We're going to do that. The next segment, we're going to get a call a cab. Let's go over there and get some.
The third segment's going to be real sloppy. All right, guys.
See ya.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz Podcast.
Are you guys questioning or doubting whether or not Ron Magill could pull off a 360 dunk? I mean,
well, he's saying at one point, like he just admitted that he hasn't played in a while.
I can't even dunk it now with one hand.
Really?
I mean, it's pathetic. No, it's really pathetic. It's
I mean, a little rude of Dan to be late here, 8 minutes late to your segment, huh?
No, it's very typical. It's very typical. Very typical of Dan. You know, he's that way.
You only planned his trip where he got engaged, like the best trip of his life, like, and then he's just late for your segment.
I planned that more for Val.
Yeah.
Actually, Ron, I do have a question for you. Can you take us through the day? I watched the video of you naming the hippo after Dan, and it was fantastic. And Dan did it with a minimal amount of sweat. Like, he seemed very, very relaxed, which is odd because when he's in that
he's not used to, guys. He's not used. Okay.
Can you kind of take us through that day and explain to the audience what exactly happened? Because the video is fantastic, but I'm not certain how many people in our audience have seen that video.
Well, it was a pivotal day. I mean, this was something, how long have we wanted to name this hippo Dan Le Batard? The hippo wanted to be named Dan Le Batard. It was like one of the highest things for the hippo itself. And then all of a sudden we get this, this corporate block that made everything impossible, made everything so difficult. And it was frustrating. So, I ended up had some naming contest where they ended up naming the thing aubergine, which means eggplant in some foreign language. And everybody was like, oh, yawn, yawn, yawn. The thing could have been named Dan Le Batard. I got 1 million people hitting me on social media. I can't believe you didn't name it Dan Le Batard. And then finally, here the door opens up. So I invited Dan out. I got with the staff and said, listen. And they go, well, it's been officially named aubergine, and people paid online to, have the opportunity to name. I go, listen, what about the stage name? What about the real name? Okay. I mean, stage names are much more important. That's what people about. Well, the stage name could be Dan Le Batard. And I said, and we can maybe raise some money for pygmy hippo conservation. And they went, okay. So that's what we did. So we went out there and we met. The thing that was special for me was to introduce Dan, to see Dan. When Dan meets Dan, that's a special thing. It's a special thing because you saw the hippo open his mouth, those big tusks. And I was proud of Dan because Dan did not flinch. Now, I think it's probably because Val was there and he didn't want to seem like some spineless weenie ass in front of Val, but he was really very good. And I think he grew an affinity for this thing. He looked at its eyes looked at him, and all of a sudden the two Dans became one. And it was a beautiful moment. It really was. It was a beautiful moment.
Love at first sight, it seems like. Yeah.
It was.
Greg, go ahead.
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. In the state of Florida and across America, it seems as if the sport of greyhound racing is on its last legs.
Thank you.
What do you think about that?
I'm all for it being on its last legs. I have known the industry too long. I've been around some people in the industry. First of all, these are very high-strung dogs. These dogs should not be put into that situation where they've got to do these runs in such a way that it really just adds to their excitability. Anybody who's adopted greyhounds will tell you that this is a very delicate, high-strung dog. They should not be put in that situation. But more importantly, what happens is they have a very short life in that arena. And once that life is over, so many of those dogs end up getting euthanized, end up being abused. It is really a horrific thing. It's like throw out the animal when it's no longer useful to you instead of really loving the animal. So I'm so happy that is finally coming to an end.
Ron, somebody decided to scrape the algae off the back of a manatee to where it actually read the word Trump on the back of it. Now, setting aside the amount of evil that actually is,
right?
What exactly is the penalty for somebody actually touching a wild manatee?
I forget. I think it's a $500 minimum penalty. It's not necessarily defined as touching, simply just harassing. Is the definition. So you don't have to touch it, but you can just get into its personal space and affect its natural behavior, and that can be listed as harassing. And that, I think, has a minimum penalty of $500. But it is a federal offense as an endangered species, the protected species, federally protected species. So I'm not sure what the coexisting jail sentence may be, but it's a serious offense.
Ron, in terms of like a documentary that you'd like to see or a book that you'd like to read, what are like the three animals that you, even with all your knowledge, are the most curious about?
Well, I've always been very curious about the snow leopard. I mean, we've talked about that on the show. This is an animal that is one of the most beautiful big cats in the world. It is found in one of the most remote places on Earth in this most inhospitable habitat. I'd love to know more about that animal. I've watched them hunt. I think I shared a video with you guys on YouTube of this one grabbing a freaking mountain, go to the top of a mountain and plummeting all the way down the mountain, never letting go of that freaking goat, hitting the bottom and still having the goat and surviving. I mean, this is an animal that just absolutely kicks butt, and so little is known about it. A guy named George Schaller really was doing the original studies many years ago, but I think that's something I really love to see more about. I'm really fascinated about whales. I mean, I'd love to know more about the sperm whale. The thing is that those animals can dive so deep that we can't follow them. So we don't know what's happening down there in the deep. We really don't know how they're catching these giant squid. Everybody's seen, the Moby Dick film with the huge giant squid. And you see these sperm whales that have these pock marks, scars on their face from these battles with these monstrous squids underneath the surface. I mean, miles down beneath the surface. Can you imagine seeing a video of this freaking huge whale? This thing's 100 feet long and this massive squid that's 80 feet long wrapped around it and they're turning around it. That would be epic, man. So I'd love to see something like that.
Ron, if the zoo, for whatever reason, took all of the animals except one type of animal, and that animal then goes to every single exhibit, which animal would you build a zoo around that's just exclusive to one animal?
That's a good question.
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Man. That is a tough question. This is going to sound probably boring to a lot of people, but I've always got to look at, what people see when they see animals. You want to see activity. You want to see something that's engaging, right? So if I was going to do one animal, I'd have a huge mob of meerkats because it is nonstop, brother. You got meerkats doing sentinel duty. You got them screaming. You got them digging. You got them fighting. You got them breeding. You got them taking care of the babies. There's something always going on. People say, well, Ron, what about a tiger? It's beautiful. Yeah, but a tiger is going to be sleeping under a tree for about 80% of the time. Same thing with lions. Same thing with almost all big cats. What about giraffe? Well, yeah, giraffe, you can see them walk around. They may be eating, but they're beautiful. But where's the excitement? Where's people want to look at animals and see some of themselves. So you might say, well, what about chimps? Chimps, gorillas, people love primates, right? Yeah, but primates are like us in a lot of ways. If they don't have to do anything to get food, if they don't have to work for things, they're going to be laying down being lazy. So in the long run, if you're going to have every exhibit full of the same animal, it's going to be just boring to see a bunch of animals sleeping. Whereas meerkats, man, but remember, guys, they made a whole successful television series for 5 years on Animal Planet called Meerkat Man, which is basically that. It's just going in a room with a bunch of animals just totally, interchanging, fighting, breeding, looking out. They're a blast to watch, so I'd have to go with meerkats.
Rod, I am deeply concerned because we've all been home so much. I have never had a stronger bond with my dog Finny. In fact, my entire family. And so I'm wondering that once we get back to some sort of normalcy, is there going to be, how would you advise people? Because I feel like my pet's going to be devastated once we're no longer home all the time because Finny has gotten used to it. What's the best way for people to transition once we get back to some sort of normalcy as it relates to their pets?
I'm proud of you, Stugotz. I'm
Thank
proud
you.
of you for having that kind of perspective, because that's kind of rare from you to have some kind of compassion for these animals. But you know what? You're very right. There's so many people that have been working from home, that have been home so much, and animals, especially pets like dogs and cats, have become accustomed to that. And that is a bond that now is going to have to be reversed. So, the best thing I can tell you folks is, if possible, do not do that cold turkey. If possible, if you can work it out with your employer to say, okay, listen, I'm working from home every day this week. Can I work from home twice a week? Can I work from home once a week? You got to try to ease into it. To go cold turkey is going to be stressful for a lot of animals. And it is a problem. There's no clear-cut answer to it, Stugotz, but the best thing I can tell you is to wean it off of them as slowly as possible, as slowly as your employer will allow you to do.
What kind of damage, Ron, could that stress do to an animal? Because I've heard of dogs and other animals that have anxiety, separation anxiety. What can it actually do to them?
Well, what it usually does is it incites bad behavior in the animals. They'll start maybe defecating in the house when they never used to do that before. They'll start tearing apart things in the house, going into the trash can, ripping out things out of drawers and start tearing it up. You'll come home to this explosion of a mess that the dog created, or it might start just urinating on the wall. I mean, there's different things that the dogs do that are a product of stress. It really is. And not just dogs. Cats will do the same thing in many ways. They'll stop using the litter box. They'll start going into the bed. They'll start going where your scent is most prevalent, and they'll start marking their scent on it, to maybe in an attempt to bring you back. I mean, I'm being anthropomorphic in that sense, but the bottom line is, they go through a separation anxiety, and because of that, it leads into bad behavior, and that can kind of become doubly negative, because then you come home, you get mad at the animal for having the negative behavior. It's having the negative behavior because you left it. And so people have to have a more open mind with that and understand that you have to generally ease animals into this change in lifestyle.
Ron, I wanted to circle back for a second to my greyhound question, because neighbors of mine used to have a couple of whippets, which looked
Small
like
greyhound.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm wondering, would you recommend a retired racing greyhound as a pet?
For a person who has the patience and time, yes. I've known people who have adopted those animals, and they have turned out to be incredible animals. I mean, one of my dearest friends, a very, very strong radio personality here in Miami, Jade Alexander, is one of the greatest greyhound advocates you'll ever speak to. And she'll tell you what incredible loving animals they can be. It is not a Labrador Retriever. This is not an animal you will adopt for your 3-year-old to come play with in the house, because they're fairly high strung. You need some patience with them. But if it's a retiree who has the patience, has the time, I think you could find them to be really amazing animals.
Ron, dog owners tend to do a bad job in breeding their dogs,
Yes.
as you can see with the English Bulldog. What's the proper way to actually breed a dog?
Well, if you're trying to breed a dog to keep a bloodline, to keep a pedigree, the best thing is to look at the pedigree, to understand that, if your dog's mother or father had pretty bad hip dysplasia, I wouldn't breed that dog. There's a gene there. And people have a hard time with that. People get their animals, say, oh my God, I love him so much. He's going to get old and I want to breed him because I want to make sure that the same dog is passed on. First of all, there's no guarantee that whatever puppies the dog that you has is going to be like the dog that you have. I've said this over and over again. You certainly can breed dogs for temperament, but the overwhelming majority of the temperament of the behavior of a dog is a direct reflection on how that dog is raised. So if you raise the dog properly, if you give it compassion, you give it love, it will give you that back. It's these dogs that have been, mistreated, that have been abused. Many times they're picked up, and they're put into a rescue facility and then adopted right away. And they still have this horrific fear, this horrific memory of the abuse. And then the people bring it home and it might snap at them, or it might not be very friendly. And people go, oh, no, I don't want this dog. I want to breed for a dog. No, these are all dogs that are, victims of their previous life. So if you're going to breed a dog, which I really don't suggest you do unless you are going to do that for a living. People who just want to, I want to have puppies. I want to breed the dog. Guys, we have so many animals that are looking for homes. I cannot overstress this. I had a Schnauzer that I paid a tremendous amount of money for that would have been a great animal. And the first thing I did when I got home with him is I had him neutered, okay? Because I knew that there were enough animals out there. My wife always wanted a miniature schnauzer. It was probably one of the best decisions I made. We had him for 15, almost 16 years. And I got to tell you something. It was beautiful. It hurt so much when we lost him that I don't know if I can have another dog. But having said that, I neutered him because it was the responsible thing to do. Unless that is your profession, unless that's how you're making a living by contributing to a breed and not just trying to create pets for other people, don't do that. Don't breed your animals. Spay them, neuter them. It's better for their own behavior. It's really better for their health. And it's better for the overall population of so many cats and dogs that just don't have forever homes.
All right. He is Bob Barker. He is 60-year-old, Cuban and tall.
Oh, here we go.
He's Bob Barker.
Welcome home, Dan.
I want to, before we get you out of here, I just want to say a couple of things here about our relationship over the years with Ron Magill, which has been a really super magical thing in so many spiritual, emotional, and wonderful, wonderful ways. Because Ron Magill, honest to God, when I say that for this show, weirdly, his mustache has been a lighthouse, fighting for his sensibilities, caring for animals, and doing stuff outside of sports that was about animals, even if it pissed people off. It was a great delight to have over many years this be a really popular segment, even though it's weird for ESPN Radio to have this televised for 10 years, and they did so reluctantly, as we enumerated any number of times. So Ron has repaid that with the following, and this is why it's a love story, and I'm going to make everyone a little uncomfortable here, but I'm going to do it for a reason. Ron has repaid that by allowing my family to see his zoo with a personal tour from a modern-day Tarzan who talks to the animals, talks to them. I know you just put down a giraffe with whom you had a Pongo, right? Was it Pongo?
Yeah, it was Pongo. Yeah.
You just put that, you put the giraffe down, and I'm sorry to make it a sad story, but I want to talk to you about the emotion of that as well. But before I do any of that, I want to explain. Ron set up my engagement, my proposal to my wife. Ron, my first date, or one of my first dates with my wife, was getting that zoo. I was trying to wow her, and Tarzan showed her the animals, and that's it. She was done after that. It's the only way that she was conquered. And so Ron has been involved at every step of the way with taking great care because he's a romantic at heart. And what I want to tell the audience, Ron, because you just, again, you got a hippo named after me, Dan Le Batard. You're always doing
right there. Right there. That's it.
You're selling hippo Dan Le Batard wax things. You're going to sell those at the zoo?
No, there's only 10 of them. They're a very limited edition.
Wow.
10, but they say Dan Le Batard on the front from one of those incredibly historic wax machines. It was made as a very limited series of 10.
Of 10. All right. Well, I'm yammering. Maybe we'll give them away to the audience as a reward for this pirate radio phase. They'll enjoy having that. But what I wanted to ask the audience, Ron, because they've been supporting us and you and this weird thing that we do, tell the people beyond taking care of their pets and neutering them, tell them how they can help your endowment. If they want to care about the animals, and you've done all of this for years for free for us, Ron, and you're always saying, I can never repay you because everywhere I go, people say, Ron Magill, you've done this for free. If they want to help something that you care about, my favorite charity is your charity. So please tell the people how it is that they can help you so that the audience can support this thing that I love that is very much a love story.
Well, I appreciate your words, Dan. I really haven't done it for free because people would pay a tremendous amount of money to have been part of this family with you. It's been a real pleasure. So I'm going to get the schmutz on the side. But let me tell you this, guys, I didn't come to work for the zoo over 40 years ago to work for an attraction. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not a huge fan at all of taking any animal out of the wild and putting it in captivity. And by the way, we're not allowed to say in captivity anymore. Now we say under human care because it sounds less of being in captivity. But let's face it, it's in captivity. So here's the deal. I started here over 40 years ago, and I firmly believe that if zoos are going to be the conservation organization they're supposed to be, they should be contributing significant amounts of money to protect animals in the wild. We spend millions of dollars here at the zoo building these state-of-the-art exhibits to house these animals for people to come to the zoo and see them. And yet we haven't really put aside the right amount of money, or really in many cases, no amount of money to help protect those animals in the wild. And I've always felt that was hypocrisy. And quite frankly, I was almost to the point where I was getting ready to leave the zoo because I just didn't believe in that. I believe that, listen, folks, if the zoo is the last place that you can safely see an animal, then we as an institution have been an epic failure. So after getting fed up with the fact that I didn't think we were putting enough money into conservation in the field itself, I said, I'm going to start an endowment here under the umbrella of the Zoo Foundation. And people laughed at me. They said, you're not going to be able to raise the money because to start an endowment, because that was another thing, guys. I always felt that, listen, we have to have sustainability. You can't raise money every year and you have to have a corpus of money that produces money. So, every year you're able to do something in perpetuity. So that was my point, to raise an endowment. They laughed at me. They said, well, I have an endowment. You're going to have to raise a minimum of $1 million. I said, whatever it takes. I'll work till I can't take my last breath anymore. And I'll try to, I've never been able to ask people for money. I just try to be able to tell a story and hopefully people care about it, say, how can I help? And this is how they can help. Make a long story short, we established the Ron Magill Conservation Endowment. It's the only conservation endowment at the zoo. And we were able to raise a significant amount of money, thanks in part to Dan, to a lot of the listeners. I can't tell you how many listeners have contributed. It's been amazing. That money's gone into a corpus. The proudest thing in my life, in my professional life, is that endowment. It is what I hope will be my legacy. It is the only reason I continue to work here at the zoo. We now have close to $2 million in that endowment, and we're able to provide tens of thousands of dollars every year to people on the ground. We buy vehicles for research in Kenya. We buy vehicles for research for rescue and rehabilitation in Panama. We're buying radio collars to track animals, buying all kinds of equipment to help these researchers and conservationists help keep those animals alive in the wild where they belong, not in a zoo. So that's the reason I started that. It's a totally tax deductible. I want to raise it as much as I can because the more money that's in there, the more that we can give away. We also give away scholarships to students who have chosen a career path in wildlife conservation. So to answer Dan's question, the best way you can donate is you can go to zoomiami.org. You'll go into the conservation area there. It says the Ron Magill Conservation Endowment. You can hit the donate button. It's a totally tax deductible donation. Your money will never actually get spent. Your money gets into the corpus that can't get touched. It just produces more and more money every year. So like I tell people, it's not like you're making a donation, you're making an investment. And that investment will continue to give money year after year after year to help keep animals in the wild where they belong, which is what I think the number one purpose of a zoo should be.
All right, Ron. So before we get out of here, very quickly, because I want you to give me numbers later today about how strong our audience supported what has been really 10 years. No lie. This has been 10 years of free work from Ron Magill, and he represents, Chris, you thought that you represented the greatest fight in our family on behalf of something. We have had to fight for the Ron Magill segment across a decade in a way that's super easy for us because we told you the show would not change when it left Miami. And the first order of business was to try and take away one of our most popular features, and we would not let them. And so I think you're going to be surprised by what the audience does today. But as you did that moving thing, and it was moving, Chris Cote, son of Greg Cote, wanted to get in here with his joke to punctuate the segment. So go ahead, Chris.
I mean, it's just clear with everybody donating to Ron's endowment, Ron will be well endowed.
Damn! Oh,
what's it,
baby?
Do we still have that sound effect?
It's kind of a clunky setup. He was put on a stage. He had to deliver it. That didn't happen organically. I mean,
Baby.
I liked it.
Guys, it has been a slice of heaven. That's all I can tell you is that I told Dan from the first time, I remember the first time when I went national, I said, Dan, I really thank you for the opportunity. He goes, no, you're going with me. I go, no, Dan, come on. No, you're going with me. And listen, you guys say the show didn't, I know, Dan, it was you. And I was so scared. I said, my God, Dan, you're going to put your whole thing in jeopardy of this incredible opportunity with ESPN. And Dan just said, no, you're going to be on the show. And I cannot tell you, at the risk of sounding overly patronizing, how much respect I have for you for just doing what you believe in. And I hope I know that's why you have such an incredible fan base.
Very moving, Ron. Thank you for being on with us. We were all touched by your appearance. Thank you, sir.
Baby.
All right, guys, give my best to Val.
Thank you.
All right, Ron, we love you.
Cote, I don't feel like this has been enough of a Cote Tuesday. I wish we had more. Do you have a back in my day? Do you have one?
Please say yes.
Oh, yes, sir. I sure do.
Let's do it, please.
Yes!
What's it about? Are you excited about it?
Well, we're going to see about that.
All right.
All right.
You got it out of your system there, Dan?
Well endowed.
That was a good joke, man.
And now, it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guide, Greg Cote, with Back in My Day.
Brain cells. So, in the next minute or so, while I'm doing this, almost 2 million neurons, 14 billion synapses, and 7.5 miles of myelinated fibers will be destroyed inside my skull. Don't worry for me. Probably happening to you too. We lose brain cells by the bushel and by degrees gradually. It's a residue of aging. Attacks our ability to remember and to store and process more and more information. It's that makes life more and more difficult as rampant technology gallops without relent. The latest fad seeming to last about a minute and a half before it's replaced by the new hot thing. Whatever happened to 3 local channels? One thing about advances in technology is that nobody ever actually asks for them. They just happen, pretty much against our will, quite frankly. Amazon? I remember when someone said that word and it probably meant the rainforest covering almost 3 million square miles of South America. Google. That used to mean Barney Google, Snuffy Smith's sidekick in the comic
God.
strip.
Oh, my
Reddit?
God.
The hell is Reddit? And why? Back in my day, Reddit was something you did to a Greg Cote column in the Miami Herald.
Oh, God.
Or to a book.
Hold on.
A book you actually held, by the way, not one swallowed up inside Kindle. I can't keep up with apps. Whatever happened to Vine? It died on the... Is Snapchat still a thing? The hell is Twitch? Let's all meet on MySpace and solve the world's problems. I need a full-time personal assistant just to help me navigate and provide a running glossary of terms. So TikTok is a video sharing network service, right? Wait, like YouTube? Why do we need another one?
Oh, no.
Somebody the other day mentioned to me WhatsApp. I said, not much.
No.
What's up with you?
No.
Oh,
Streaming
no.
services is a phrase I keep hearing more and more. I'm not positive what that's all about. I thought live streaming was what I did standing over a urinal. Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Crackle. What about Snap and Pop?
Oh, no.
HBO Max, Fubo TV,
No.
Apple Plus. Somebody suggested I try Sling TV. What's that for viewers with broken arms?
No.
And there's the brand new startup everybody's talking about. Lebatube.
Oh, no.
It's a tsunami.
No.
It's trampling my brain cells like motorcycles tearing through a rose garden.
No.
Somebody told me they're investing with Robinhood. No idea what that means. Wouldn't have known Bad Bunny if he hopped right up next to me. Christopher told me he's investing in Bitcoin. Christopher, what did you tell me that was?
It's a cryptocurrency.
Oh my God. Yeah, like that answers everything. Crypto. Crypto sounds like a little too close to the mausoleum with my name on it. Nowadays, I hear there's even an app, I forget what it's called. It lets C and D-list celebrities charge fans for money for personalized 30-second
Oh, no.
videos.
Oh,
Wait,
no.
No, that actually sounds like a great idea.
Oh, no.
Baby!
No.
Here's what I do to get away from the
No,
rampage. Or to try. I close my eyes. I'm transported to the wood-paneled, shag-carpeted den of 1440. It's 1965. I walk to the Zenith console TV, adjust the tin foil on the left rabbit ear, and turn the channel knob by hand. Click, click, click to the number 4 and drift away. Let's see what Marshall, Matt, Dylan, Festus, and Miss Kitty are up to down at the Long Branch Saloon.
Yes.
Because the clock says it's time for Gunsmoke. My wife nudges me from my reverie. I tell her what I dreamed. She scoffs. She says, don't you know, you can watch old Gunsmoke episodes anytime you want. All you have to do is pay to subscribe to CBS All Access. I start to softly weep as another million neurons disappear. I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Cote of the Miami Herald.
Amazing.
Shamed over the course of the last few years because he would not try on Back in My Day. That is him trying. Inexplicably, Ron Magill is still in the Zoom chat. Ron, how did you feel about seeing live a Greg Cote musty Back in My Day that basically railed against every single technological development in the last 30 years?
It was epic. I got to have it in print so I can frame it.
Yeah, thank you. We'll make that happen for you.
It was a masterpiece.
Old
by Greg.
guy radio. Okay, Ron, thank you. Actually, Ron, would you be kind enough to settle? Actually, you know what we should do? We should get Arlene in here to settle a dispute as the litigator on me and Cody stuff in our post game. Ron, thank you, sir. It's been a great voyage, and it's about to get a lot better because you've done some stuff. What my brother likes to do videos with you. They made some ridiculous sounds. Worldofsuey.com. What did you do? What did Angel Resto do with you in that section on worldofsuey.com?
Oh my God, I'm looking at all these clips. I didn't realize you guys saved all that stuff. I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot.
Oh, it's just you making animal sounds? That's what's on the website? Just you impersonating all sorts of animals?
No, it's me. All the clips, with a lot of them making animal sounds and me doing a lot of the VOs for the videos and stuff. I'm an idiot. I listen to that stuff. I'm cringing.